Story 1. I sleep with a giant Snorlax stuffed animal. I'm a side sleeper, and hugging it helps keep my chest up and open, making it easier to breathe. It also makes me feel fuzzy inside. Story 2. I love cute things and I like to cuddle, but I do not have anyone to cuddle with. Story 3. Masculinity and fearlessness are important to me, but my teddy bear, Constantine, keeps me safe and snug. Story 4. I am a very old autistic man. I was there when they still called the asylum they put me in a sanitarium. I was there when they tried to attach a boy to the mains by his forehead, and I was there when they were all shut down. I am the last person you would expect, from one look, to own an entire room in my house for teddies. I get home from work and crawl into the pile. It is so big that I can be entirely submerged in it and nobody can see the difference in size. Every time I see a teddy I want it. I must have it or I become a wreck. My therapist says it is a trauma response from my inner child that was forced to hide and die, but to me it is just a quirk. I see a teddy, it comes home with me. People always ask if it is for a grandchild. I learned to say yes rather than tell them it is for me. As an old man with leather skin and scars everywhere, you get some weird looks when you walk around with a 7-foot-tall otter teddy. The best part of my day is coming home to the teddy room. My wife would always hear me running down the hall, walk through and call into the room that she thought she had heard her husband, but it must have just been the teddies. Then I would stick a hand out and give her a thumbs up. She passed a while ago, and in her will she made sure to remind me to get out of the pile in a reasonable time so I can get dinner on time. Story 5. I am about to be 40. My cat died last night, and it was so hard to sleep without her furry little body in my arms. I grabbed my stuffed Haku, a neck pillow shaped like the dragon from Spirited Away that stays in a circle like it is curled up, and held it against my chest. I went right to sleep. Sometimes I grab my childhood teddy to sleep with when my partner is out of town. I do not know why it fills the space of having someone next to me, but it does. Story 6. Joe Bear still brings me comfort at 43 years old. I wish I could share his picture. Story 7. I am 56 and still sleep with Roo, a stuffed kangaroo I got 50 years ago. He nestles snugly under my neck. Story 8. Yes. I am a 40-year-old married man and a father. I have 2 teddy bears and a doll. Each has sentimental value. I do not care. Story 9. When I worked at one hospital, I cared for a patient who was around 80 or 90 years old and slept with a tiny teddy bear her grandmother or great-grandmother had made years earlier. I was quietly petrified that the little bear would somehow end up in a linen basket at the hospital and be lost forever. Story 10. I started sleeping with a body pillow when I had to work the 3rd shift and could not spoon with my wife anymore. Story 11. Yes, of course I still sleep with my teddy bear. I will always have him in bed with me. Any future partner will be kicked out of my bedroom before I consider not sleeping with him. Story 12. Yep. Why shouldn't I? They're soft and cute. Being an adult doesn't mean I can't enjoy childish things sometimes. Story 13. Absolutely. Who else is going to defend me from the monsters under my bed? I don't care if I'm 26, which I am, 58, or even 80. Plushies and stuffed animals are awesome and comfortable. Story 14. I got a penguin from my boyfriend for my surgery during the coronavirus pandemic. He proceeded to take it because it was so nice to lie on that his shoulder would not hurt. I missed it, so I got him one too. Now we both have penguins, and they are in a throuple with my heatable stuffed dog, Gary. The temperature balance is tricky, but I think they are happy overall. Story 15. Yes, because it makes sense. Get a Jellycat bunny. It will be self-explanatory. In a cold, callous world that takes pride in its lack of empathy, I have the small victory of sleeping in a soft, gentle, safe space. I have a spouse who has cancer. For every person who has screamed at her in public for wearing a mask, there is a soft, gentle hug from me and the Jellycat family. Story 16. I recently started sleeping with a stuffed mushroom to keep my arm from falling asleep, but I secretly just love cuddling something. Laughing out loud. Story 17. Yes, I panic a little when I cannot find my cow. I cannot sleep without him. Story 18. I am a grown man checking in with my giant squishmallow dinosaur, which I have named Chompy. I fall asleep hugging him because it is the most comfortable position for me, and Chompy and my dog are the only things in the world that love me unconditionally. Story 19, because I'm an adult, and I do what I want. I laugh ironically. Story 20. I mostly sleep with a fox squishmallow-like pillow. It is very comfortable to hug and prevents one arm from weighing on the other. I have other stuffed animals, mostly foxes, but they do not usually stay on the bed. Story 21. Heck yes. I have two favorites. My huggable hippo from Jellycat and my Lotso bear. It's just nice to hold something soft and perfectly squishy at night. Story 22. I upgraded from a stuffed cheetah to a very demanding, space-hogging dog named Lufa. Story 23. I sleep with 5 cat plush toys for reasons words cannot convey. Story 24. Because it is comfortable, I am an adult and will do whatever brings me joy without any thought about what others may think. Story 25. I need to hold something to fall asleep, and it needs to be big enough to wrap my arms around. In a pinch, it is a pillow. At home, it is my big stuffed elephant from IKEA named Alfred Yitzhak. Story 26. Yes, I am 33 and sleep with 2 squishmallows. I cuddle with one and keep the other in case I misplace one during the night, laughing out loud. Story 27. Yes, both my husband and I have our own cuddle pets. He has a stuffed bear, and I have a panda pillow pet. We are both side sleepers because body heat makes cuddling or spooning uncomfortable, and my arm falling on top of my other arm without anything supporting my upper arm really bothers me. Story 28. No, but I have a few baby blankets my grandmother made for me, including Blah Blah Jr., and others. Story 29. I am a 32-year-old female. I have multiple plush toys and pillows. I like a lot of things around me when I sleep. I have a giant Buttercup Powerpuff Girls plush toy. Story 30. I sleep with a live animal who is usually stuffed with treats, so technically yes. He sleeps in the bed because he insists he is entitled to his own pillow. Story 31. I am a 24-year-old man. I did not sleep with a comfort object for many years, probably from about age 10 onward. I had a giant whale body pillow in my bed until I was about 13, but I did not consider it the same because the sentiment was not there. It was just a pillow that happened to be a stuffed whale. Last year, I started sleeping with a teddy bear that I made in preschool with my class. I did it as a therapeutic measure. I am in a support group for people who were raised in dysfunctional families, and it really helped me. On nights when I feel very alone, he helps me not feel alone and I sleep better. He is my buddy. Sometimes I set him up near a window when I go to work, as if he would get bored if he did not have something to look at. Story 32. I never used to, but since turning 30 I sleep with a stuffed hedgehog. He is fuzzy, and on nights when I really need comfort he is nice to cuddle. He even smells like cotton candy. Story 33. Mr. Bear protects me from the things I cannot see while my eyes are closed. Story 34. I have collected stuffed animals for years, so I have many. I have numerous sleep problems, and a stuffed animal lets me use a smaller pillow that provides extra neck support. It is more comfortable for me. Story 35. A Blahaj plush. I bought it as a meme, but it is so comfortable to hug. Story 36. I never used to until recently. A friend gave me a very soft memory foam frog that looks angry, and now I must have him on my chest every night or I cannot fall asleep. Story 37. I have 3 stuffed animals of my favorite Pokemon. They are a Bidoof, a Psyduck, and a Quagsire. I cuddle them every night and love waking up to their adorable faces. Story 38. A stuffed pillow. It brings me comfort because I am an adult who is scared of the dark and the silence, and it helps to hold on to something. Story 39. I have limited space, but collecting keeps me calm and happy when things get tough. I'm a huge collector. I have about 30 at this point. I'm hoping to get more for Christmas. Story 40. 100% yes. I have so many squishmallows that there almost isn't room for me. I make a fluffy nest to keep me warm and hug them while I sleep. Story 41. I like it because it's cozy, and I don't care what anyone has to say about it. Story 42. I am a resident physician. I am an adult, I think. I still sleep with 3 stuffed animals. A giant penguin I can hug because penguins are great, a snugget, and a jungle skog from IKEA. They make me feel warm, fuzzy, and safe. Story 43. I have a not-so-small obsession with Jigglypuff. Sometimes I take a couple of my plush Jigglypuffs and place them on the bed with me. My favorite is the large sleeping one because it makes me feel like I am going to sleep too. Story 44. I keep a tiny stuffed dog that my toy poodle carried in her mouth. It was her comfort toy and she never chewed on it. After she died, I wash the toy and often hold it or put it under my pillow. It makes me feel close to her. I miss her so much. Story 45. I am almost 30, and yes, I still collect Beanie Babies. I once owned over 400. I had a difficult childhood and was heavily neglected. I do not have a partner or roommates now, and my fuzzy friends help me through lonely nights and nightmares. Story 46. Yes. It is a large sea turtle that my fiancé gave me. It is very soft and warm, and you cannot have it. Story 47. Yes, at 30, partly because I believe in nourishing our inner child and partly because I just like to hold something while I sleep. If I am away from home, I bunch up the blanket and hold it to my chest. I don't know why. It is a reflex. Mine is a little jellycat bunny that my partner got for me. I gave him a little monkey and now they have sleepovers when we stay at each other's places. Story 48. Yes. As a 28-year-old man, it is my dog's stuffed animal, but it is in the bed with me nonetheless. Story 49. As a chronically single person, yes, it makes me feel less alone. Not in a tragic way. It is what it is. Story 50. I sleep with 2 stuffed animals that make me feel safe. I have anxiety, and cuddling them as I fall asleep helps me calm down. Story 51. The true purpose of a large squishmallow is to be a pillow, especially the round ones like my frog. Story 52. I have had the same stuffy since my first birthday. We have been together for 30 years, through thick and thin. He is my safe space, really laughing out loud. Story 53. Teddy is my main man, and he keeps me safe every night from monsters. He also snuggles me when I am sad. He has protected me every night for 31 years, and it would be rude to retire him after such good service. I tuck him in every morning so he can rest while I am at work. I make my husband wash him because it makes me so sad to put him in the washing machine. It feels like I am drowning him. I will be buried with him one day. Story 54. I keep a small fox beside my bed. He was given to me when I was 17 by a much-loved family member. I always know if I have had a bad dream during the night because I reach for him in my sleep. So when I wake up, he is snuggled in my blankets. Story 55. Yes. Can't sleep unless I'm surrounded by a bunch of cute little guys. Their unending button-eyed stares give me a peace no God could give. Story 56. I just turned 68 yesterday. I have a teddy bear and added some family mementos to it. My mother's circle pin, a piece of material my husband chose for the scarf, my son's navy pin, and a patch from my mother-in-law's apron. I love it, and hugs help relieve my stress. Story 57. I'm an older woman. I slept with stuffed animals until my late 20s. Now, in my 60s, I hug a pillow. Ironically enough, I've been married for 40 healthy years and hate being touched while I sleep. People are weird. Story 58. No, because my 2 large dogs sleep with me. Laughing out loud. Story 59. I still sleep with my childhood Teddy in my arms every night. Comforts me and makes me feel safe. Before my grandmother died, she was in the hospital for a long time and she missed her cat. I gave her a large stuffed cat to cuddle in the hospital. She loved it, holding it day and night, petting it and telling it her worries. I think everyone needs a stuffed friend. Story 60. My beloved cat used to want me to hold her like a teddy bear at night. I had never had a cat that loved being held as much as she did. She passed away last year, and I now hug a cat plush at night in her absence. Story 61. I only started doing it at 39. I broke my elbow in 3 places, and my arm hurts if I do not have it slightly propped up. I have not found anything better than a stuffed animal. Story 62. Absolutely. I don't think I could sleep without a bear. Even the camper van has a couple of bears snuggled in the bedding, so there is always at least one. Why? Well, I had a bear called Blue as a kid. My mother made me put him away in the cupboard when I turned 10. In my early 20s, I was going through a very bad patch because of my childhood and needed him. I drove to my sister's, who had him, and brought him home. He helped a lot. There were a lot of tears in that bear. A while later, I found a cat bear who would make a nice friend for him, and things went from there. I still sleep with Blue and two other bears. I'm 58. Story 63. One of my friends sleeps with a body pillow because it helps him with back issues. Story 64. Yes, my cute bear brings me warmth. I have had him since I was 11 years old. Story 65. I'm 40 and kind of sentimental. I have my childhood favorite stuffed animal and a squishmallow in bed with me every night. Most nights they just sit beside my pillows, but if I can't fall asleep or I feel anxious or upset, I will cuddle one. I never do this in winter. If it is cold, I cuddle my very affectionate dog instead. Story 66. My sweetheart is too sentimental to part with any of her or my childhood stuffed animals. We have to balance that with two excitable dogs that would rip them apart. So the toys live on a shelf above our bedroom closet doors, staring down at us. You stop looking up after a while. Story 67. Not a stuffed animal, but a blanket. I use it like a small pillow, placing it between my head and my pillow. It is much easier to flip to a cool spot than to flip the whole pillow. Story 68. I have a stuffed parrot that I have had since I was a baby, plush figures of Jack, Sally, and Oogie Boogie, and a hard plastic Quasimodo that I have also had since childhood. The parrot and Quasimodo have been with me all my life, so sleeping with them feels right. I often suffer from nightmares and anxiety spikes at night. When those happen, I grab Jack, Sally, or Oogie Boogie and squeeze them until I snap out of it. For a long time, I only had Jack, but last Halloween I completed the set. Oogie Boogie is the best one to grab because he is the biggest and is shaped like a pillow. Story 69. Only when my fiancé, who is soft and fuzzy and might as well be a stuffed animal, is not with me. Story 70. Yes and no. For a long time, into my 20s, I slept with my stuffed panther, but I stopped. Last year, our corgi passed away, and I began sleeping with the panther again. I think it is more about missing our corgi's physical presence and trying to bring that feeling back. Story 71. My husband got me this log pillow for my birthday 4 years ago, and I sleep with it every night. It is the ideal shape for snuggling and provides excellent neck support. I even take it on airplanes with me for neck support. Story 72. Yes. My grandfather got it for me, and he passed away in 2009. I am 36. Story 73. I'm 27 and have a stuffed Dalmatian named Spot that I've had since I was a toddler. I have a small collection of Dalmatian plush toys and a few Pokemon plushies, but Spot is the one I press under my chin every night. Story 74. I sleep with 2 weighted dog plushies. They help with my anxiety tremendously, and I feel safer with them. I am 23. Story 75. I sleep with many stuffed animals, mainly Squishmallows and Tasty Peach Studio plushes. I am not allowed to have pets where I currently live, so they comfort me because they are cute and huggable. They make me feel less alone in an otherwise lonely living situation. In my youth, I had to grow up quickly and was an angsty teenager who thought I was too old for stuffed animals. Revisiting that comfort has helped heal my inner child. Story 76. Yes. I have used it since I was a child. I am a poor sleeper, and it helps soothe me. Story 77. It is not an animal, but it is a small stuffed mushroom. I bought it when I was with friends, so it reminds me of them, and I love having it with me whenever I can, including when I sleep. Story 78. Yes, I have been sleeping with the same stuffed animal since I was 6, which was more than 30 years ago. Story 79. Yes, it is my daughter's teddy, wrapped in her hospital blanket. She died during childbirth, and I have slept with it every night since. Story 80. I am disabled and get sores on my feet. I have a large stuffed lion that I have had for about 30 years that I use to prop my feet while I sleep. I love him, and he helps keep my heels and ankles from getting sores. Story 81. I used to sleep with a whale named Herbert that my girlfriend made for me, but then she left. Now I have to single parent him. Story 82. Yes, because I sleep on my side and need something to do with my arms. Story 83. If I didn't have my husband in bed with me, I would 100% sleep with a stuffed animal. I still have my stuffed Scooby-Doo from childhood in my closet. He is there whenever I need him. Story 84. By default, yes. My stuffed bunny that I have had since I was 8 is still on my bed. She serves as a pillow or a placeholder. Sometimes I snuggle her on hard days. I tried to put her away altogether, and it just felt wrong. She has been the most consistent part of my life for 30 years. Story 85. I need to hug something to fall asleep. After 26 years, it is impossible to get used to sleeping without my teddy bear. Story 86. Yes, I'm 38 and I have taken back my childhood. I sleep with a squishmallow bat or fox. Sometimes I cuddle a dragon plush, and the guest room bed is full of other plushies. They are a good comfort when I'm alone. They are great for propping and support. They are soft and adorable. What is there not to love about snuggling up to a cute stuffed animal? Story 87. I sleep with them to bring me comfort at night, holding them close to my chest so I do not feel alone. Story 88. I am 28 and have a small stuffed monkey that comforts me when I cry and gives me hugs when I have not had one in a really long time. Story 89. Yes, because it feels weird not to hold something when you are in bed. Story 90. I lost my dog 2 years ago, and I still sleep with one of her stuffed animals. It is a nice little comfort. Story 91. My stuffed horse is 26 years old. At this point, she has simply earned the right to be in my bed. Story 92. Mac the elephant was a gift from my cousins. Hugging him makes me feel comforted. Story 93. I did not usually have one, but this year I obtained a teddy and it has become an object I feel sentimental about. It is an old Thai teddy bunny who I call Mr. Svire. I won him at a fairground this summer in Sofia, Bulgaria, while I was backpacking from Prague to Istanbul. It was a day when sun and rain battled each other and it was warm and humid. I carried him in my hand luggage back to the United Kingdom from Istanbul. I keep him in my bed because it is the best place in my house to keep him safe and close to me. Story 94. Yes. I am a lonely autistic person struggling with social interactions and physical contact. The plushie does not judge. The plushie is always there for me. Story 95. I sleep with a 6-foot spotted hyena plush. I just feel kind of lonely. Story 96. I have a giant stuffed octopus that I sleep with. It makes the perfect body pillow. Its tentacles let it conform to any position and match whatever shape I want. Story 97. Hug deprivation was the main reason, but then I read that dust accumulates in plushies, so I stopped sleeping with them a few months ago. I'm pretty sensitive to dust. Story 98. Yes, I have 5 of them in my bed, and I sometimes hug one when I sleep. It makes me feel safe and comfortable. Story 99. Yes, I still sleep with a stuffed animal. For me, it is more than a habit. It is a source of comfort and familiarity. Life can be stressful, and having something soft and cozy nearby helps me feel safe and calm after a tough day. It also brings nostalgia and a connection to my childhood, providing warmth and happiness as I sleep. Story 100. Yes, I have crippling anxiety and miss my departed pets. Story 101. I had my daughter's baby blanket, the one she was wrapped in when she was born, made into a teddy bear after she died. I sleep with it every night to feel close to her. Story 102. I kept my childhood stuffed animals because I didn't have the heart to throw them out. They were never in bed with me, though. Then I met my wife. She absolutely loves stuffed animals. Now we have hundreds, and there are always some in bed with us. Story 103. I am 32 and my husband and I sleep with at least 5 stuffed panda bears for protection and lumbar support. Story 104. My boyfriend gave me a teddy bear on our very first Valentine's Day that is meant to represent him when he is away, since we are in a long-distance relationship. It is very comforting. Story 105. I do. They give me a sense of comfort, like I'm not alone. Story 106. She is my girlfriend, an animal in bed, and I stuff her every chance I get. Story 107. I have a squishmallow. He has the perfect density for maintaining good neck alignment. Story 108. I ended a long-term relationship and bought a giant squishmallow body pillow to hug at night. I sleep 100 times better now than when I was sharing the bed with another person. I laugh out loud. Story 109. No, just a squishy pillow with a blanket on top. Sometimes I go lie down in my daughter's room and cuddle with her stuffed animals. It's really comforting. Story 110. Yes, only one from my childhood. It makes me feel safe and connects me to my child self. Story 111. I am 36 years old and have a total of 50 stuffed animals on my bed. They are very nice to lean on. Story 112. Absolutely. I got it nearly 2 decades ago when I was young. I moved a lot and it was the one constant in my life. Story 113. Soft and pleasant to wake up to. Who would not want to see this little one first thing in the morning? Story 114. I want to, but my partner of over a decade might find it weird. I like things that are soft and comforting and that will not be bothered by my constant fidgeting. Story 115. I was wearing them, but I took them off. I have had them for a while and they need to be cleaned. Story 116. I don't have a stuffed animal, but I often have things on my bed when I sleep. It might be a book or a small cathode ray tube television with an old Nintendo Entertainment System. The other night I watched Star Wars. I have a lightsaber hilt someone made from scratch on a metal lathe, and I had it next to me while watching Return of the Jedi. I'm such a nerd, but if adults can admit to sleeping with a stuffed animal, then I can admit to falling asleep while watching an old movie with a lightsaber next to me. Story 117. I do so occasionally, mostly when I feel the need to cuddle something while I sleep or to support my breasts because I sleep on my side. Story 118. No, but that's only because I now have real animals that take up all the space in my bed. They graciously let me sleep on the edge. Story 119. My wife can be a real animal when she has sugar. She sleeps better after a large meal. I guess my reasoning is that I love her and do not like sleeping without her. Story 120. These visits are usually unplanned. My kids are very assertive. A typical example is when I woke up to a child climbing into bed, trying to carry a dozen stuffed animals. I was too exhausted to deal with it and fell back asleep. I woke up again at 4 a.m. with feet in my face, so I had to deal with it then. Story 121. Yes, it is a small unicorn. I need to hug something while I sleep, and it belonged to my grandmother before she passed away. It helps me feel connected to her. Story 122. Yes, when I'm home, because my girlfriend bought me the same frog in a different color. It's cozy and hilarious. Story 123. I did not until a couple of years ago. Now I cannot sleep without one. Story 124. Getting into bed with plushies makes me feel happier when I go to sleep. Story 125. Because my mother returned an old stuffed animal she had saved for me, and I now have children. I want my kids to grow up in a fun environment. Story 126. I stopped sleeping with stuffed animals when I was 2, but a while ago my girlfriend gave me a penguin and I sleep with it every night. Story 127. Yes. I do not know. I feel very comfortable doing that. It is more like hugging my stuffed animal because I like body warmth and cuddles, and I guess it mimics that feeling. Story 128. My 4-year-old brings them to me in bed and I am not about to refuse. Story 129. He has a name. He has been my best friend forever. His name is Teddy. Story 130. My daughter gave me a rabbit named Bun Bun as a birthday present when she was small. She got upset if the rabbit was not in my bed, so the rabbit stays. Story 131. I have had my teddy bear since I was born. He has developed a whole other personality and is like family to me. Story 132. I got a bear made from my late father's pajamas. He sleeps next to my bed and stays by my side when I have a bad day. Story 133. I am a side sleeper with a connective tissue condition. I sleep with a stuffed sheep that is just the right height to keep my shoulder from subluxing and to support my elbow. It greatly reduces my pain. Story 134. That's basically how I see a collection of throw pillows. People traded stuffed animals for them because of societal pressure to grow up. Story 135. I am cuddling one right now. Mainly because I do not like the heat that gets trapped when my thighs are together. I am so used to cuddling with my significant other when I go to sleep that I have to have one behind my back so it still feels like I am cuddling. Story 136. I am a 23-year-old woman. I still sleep with two stuffed animals. A dinosaur my friend gave me and a bear my parents gave me that smells like lavender and can be warmed in the microwave to use as a heating pad. The bear keeps me warm even without being microwaved because it holds onto my body heat. The dinosaur is easy to cuddle. They are a comfort. Story 137. It's stuffed with flax and lavender. It's my Warm Eyes microwavable heating pad. Story 138. Yes, sometimes. It's nice to cuddle, but my husband and I eventually get overheated, so it is never an all-night thing. It still feels nice to have something soft tucked under your arm when going to sleep. Story 139. I sleep with my 4-year-old daughter's Totoro sometimes. It is just so comfortable. Story 140. There is always a plushy dog at the corner of my head, but I never sleep with him. Sometimes I want to, but I always turn the idea down. I had not thought about it before, but now that you asked, I think he resembles a puppy. He is not a real dog, so I would feel a bit sad. He just cannot fill my loneliness. His name is Strudel. Story 141. I do when my anxiety gets so bad I can't sleep. It's comforting. Story 142. I share my bed with my cuddly Rottweiler named Smudge. He is very dear to me, and I have become so used to having something under my arm that I cannot sleep without him. Story 143. Yes, but mine runs and yips in his sleep and has bad breath. I would not have let him, but one night he decided he did not want to sleep in his crate and yowled until I let him on the bed. Mostly he is a good, quiet sleeper now. Story 144. I have found that it is one of the main ways to help my insomnia. The other is alcohol, but I would rather not become an alcoholic just to get decent sleep. I also love cute things, so this is a good way to fulfill my need for cuteness. My current sleeping buddy is the perfect size to cuddle comfortably. Story 145. I sleep with a stuffed gorilla named Jake, but don't tell my husband. He gave Jake to me when we were 25 and I was in graduate school. Later, he developed a repetitive strain injury from typing too much, and now he cannot stand to be touched at night. Jake gives me someone to cuddle with when my husband is unavailable. Story 146. I have a bear named Pinky. I did not sleep with a stuffed animal for years, but I found her while cleaning one day and put her on the bed. Now I sleep with her every night because I like it. Story 147. Yes, because they are soft, squishy, and make comfortable, cute additions to my bed. Story 148. Still implies I never stopped. I did as a child. Then, as a teenager and in my 20s, I stopped because it was not considered manly. Now in my 30s, my partner and I have a bunch of them. The rise of the fluffy boys. Story 149. I did until I started sharing a bed with my partner and my dog. Now my stuffed animals usually fall off during the night, but I like to have something to cuddle so I do not scrunch up my chest while I sleep. It turns out my boyfriend sometimes makes a decent replacement, so for the time being my stuffed animals get a little rest of their own. Story 150. Neither my wife nor I have slept with stuffed animals since we were 5. Story 151. RJ, the llama, would be sad if we didn't snuggle all night. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Story 152. No. I have living, breathing animals that have taken their place, and I would absolutely not allow a stuffed animal to survive for more than 30 seconds. Story 153. Yes. I am 28 years old, I have a child, and I still sleep with a stuffed unicorn. Story 154. Yes, with 2 of them. They make the best pillows. When I try to sleep with only pillows, my neck hurts. One of the stuffed animals is one I've had for 20 years. My best friend teases me, but I say he makes the best neck pillow. Story 155. No, because I masturbate a lot and I do not want Mr. Bear to be traumatized. Story 156. I have a Louisiana State University tiger that opens into a pillow. I will sleep with it because it will help my left shoulder with elevation and will also prevent me from drawing my elbows up to my body and curling my wrist inward. I am 46, by the way. Story 157. Yes, I do. If you are a fellow stuffy friend, come join us in the plushies subreddit. Story 158. I sleep with a toddler body pillow that was the first gift my husband gave me when we started dating. It's definitely the most hideous worm-like beast and no mother could love it, but it has kept me comfortable for over a decade and helps because he works nights and I need something to cuddle. Story 159. When I take a nap on the couch, I always snuggle with a squishmallow. Story 160. Always. My boyfriend does too. We have so many, but my favorite is a stuffed strawberry pillow. I think I would die without it. It's the perfect snuggle shape. I'm a side sleeper, so it helps prop up my tummy. My travel ones are a squishmallow fish and a squishmallow fox. Story 161. They have always been with me, and I do not see any reason to get rid of them, especially Wolfie, a huge wolf I can hug, and me, a cat I tried to call mine, but could only pronounce as me when I was a baby. Story 162. They are often comfortable and act like imaginary companions. Story 163. I do. Mine doesn't have a name, but it's a small fox. Snuggling it helps me fall asleep more easily. I didn't sleep with a stuffed animal for a long time. In my mid-20s, I had an energy work and angelic reading session with a Quaker woman who was a friend of my aunt. I was lying on a table while she placed her hands over me. She asked me to let her know what was coming up for me at a certain point. I had just remembered a childhood memory I hadn't thought about in years. On a trip with my family when I was around 6, leaving a hotel, I had forgotten my stuffed teddy bear. I called him Scotty Bear because he had a plaid belly and I imagined he was Scottish. There was a whiteout blizzard. My parents said we couldn't go back because they were afraid we would get stuck. I felt tragic and I cried, though I said I understood. I told this story to the mystic, and she suggested I get a stuffed animal and sleep with it. I had been going through an awful stretch of barely sleeping for about 9 months, so I was open to trying it. I used to feel self-conscious about sleeping with a stuffed animal as an adult, but I've become more comfortable with it. I've even brought my little fox on group trips and don't hide it. I have trouble falling asleep in new environments, and snuggling my fox helps. Story 164. Because an enormous panda is basically a more fun body pillow. Story 165. I have a loaf kitty and a Dumbo stuffed animal. From time to time, I use them as pillows. Story 166. Am I supposed to stop? My sleeping Charmander says no. Story 167. I only stopped because I got dogs and my dogs would eat them. Story 168. Yes, because I had a rough start to the year and decided I needed to get some new snuggle buddies. They are the best. Story 169. I originally cuddled them at night because they made me feel safer. I was recently diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and sleeping with squishmallows instead of pillows is much more comfortable. I have not had any joints hyperextend since I started doing that. Story 170. I am a side sleeper with a bad shoulder. Keeps me in a good position and relieves the strain. Story 171. Yes. First and foremost, I love them. Second, when I sleep with a stuffed animal in my arms, my elbows do not hyperextend. Story 172. I slept with a pink cat I had since I was a baby until last year, when my dog got hold of it. Story 173. Yes. I have had her since I was 3. These days it is more comfortable to sleep with something against my chest because of my body issues. If I do not cuddle something against my chest while sleeping, my chest hurts when I wake up. I slept with her long before I developed those issues. Story 174. I sleep with a squishmallow my daughter gave me for my birthday. It was the only gift I received. Story 175. Yes, I do because it gives me comfort and peace. It feels like something is missing when I do not have my plushie with me. Story 176. I do not because I am afraid anyone who sees it will look down on me. so I sleep with a regular pillow. Otherwise, I would sleep with a stuffed animal. I sleep on my left side, and my right arm needs to rest on something other than my body or it becomes uncomfortable at the shoulder. Usually that is a regular pillow, but this discussion gives me some hope I could use the dolphin stuffed animal from SeaWorld that is sitting in my closet. Story 177. They do not give me nightmares. They are cute, and I am too attached to them. My mother made me give some to my little nephew, which I did not mind because I only had to give 5 out of 20. Story 178. Just to let everyone know, it was pajama and stuffed animal day at my child's school yesterday. Many teenagers carried a stuffed animal around all day, not just the girls. There were plenty of boys dragging ratty old ones from class to class. I loved seeing the boys not caring if anyone made fun of them. It was refreshing. Story 179. My husband bought me some for my birthday and other occasions. I have the IKEA whale with a zippered mouth. They make great little armrests at night since I am a side sleeper, and I like their soft texture, which is not typical for pillows and blankets. Story 180. I sleep with a buckwheat heart named Bucky at my house and a stuffed isopod named Roland Poland, also called Rolly Polly, at my boyfriend's house. It's just nice to have a little buddy to snuggle with. Story 181. At this point, it would feel like a cardinal sin to throw any of them out. Story 182. Yeah, because my girlfriend gave them to me as a gift when we were in a long-distance relationship. Story 183. Not just for emotional comfort, but also for physical comfort. I have joint instability and hypermobility that can leave me very sore in the morning if I sleep in the wrong position, so having something to hold keeps my arms in a safe, comfortable position. I also place a large squishmallow under my knees for the same reason. Story 184. I have a teddy bear that has been with me for 16 years. I use a squishmallow as a pillow when my other pillows are flat. Story 185. I am 32, and I love my stuffed cow. She has traveled the world with me for the past 4 years. She makes me feel comfortable and safe. Story 186. I have a lot of squishmallows and I use them like extra pillows. Story 187. I am 55 and would love to, but my dog steals them all. Story 188. I recently made a dinosaur plush. He is a terrible pillow, but too cute to be abandoned at the foot of the bed. Story 189. No. I sleep with down-stuffed pillows now, which are so downy and soft that they puff up and muffle my ears, preventing me from hearing my lovely wife snore. Story 190. Yes. I have had one since I was a baby and have no intention of stopping. It is healing to have something soft to hold when you need it, and it is helpful because it provides tactile stimulation when I need to unwind. Story 191. I am autistic and 32 years old, and I will sleep with my plushies until I die, laughing out loud. Story 192. Listen. If I could sleep with a life-size stuffed bear or another large animal, I would. Story 193. I know people who do. My sister, for one, loves them because they make her feel safe and cared for. Whatever works. Story 194. I sure do. It helps prop my head and arm and is also cozy and comfortable. Story 195. I recently took up this habit again. Throughout my 20s, I slept with a snuggly stuffed animal I called Chris Bear. Now I am wondering what became of him. In the last couple of months, I have been falling asleep on and off with a roughed-up rabbit. It is comforting to hold something snugly that does not move, snore, or take up too much of the bed. Story 196. Yes. I sleep with a small pink pig stuffed animal. It makes a pig sound when you press the button on its back. My mother had this stuffed animal before she died. It brings me comfort because I know my mother's hands touched it. Story 197. I have a 5-foot-tall, very round teddy bear with a few bald spots. Years ago, I made Ted a chainmail waistcoat and bow tie for daytime wear. At night, he takes my tears while I cuddle him and talk about my husband, my love. He knows every secret from the few years we had, without judgment. I know he will never condemn me or sell me out. He will always keep my story. Telling him is safer than any therapy. Story 198. I have a giant whale body pillow and a Build-A-Bear Nemo. Nemo is the most important. He is the perfect size to put my arms around when I need my chest held a little more open, and he is the ideal object to squeeze against my stomach when I am so anxious I could throw up. Story 199. I would love to, but as soon as I fall asleep, my dog takes them. Story 200. Yes. I had many operations when I was a child, and you could not have stuffed animals from home in the post-surgical intensive care unit. I still sleep with a stuffed elephant to help me heal when I am scared or lonely at night. Story 201. I have a stuffed little foot from the land before time. I put its tail through the bars of my bed frame so it does not move at night, and my hand rests under it when I fall asleep. My grandparents gave it to me when I was 1 or 2 years old, and I still have it at 37. Story 202. Weighted black cat. For when my asshole cat refuses to snuggle because I fed him on time. Story 203. No, but technically yes, because my daughter brings it with her when she jumps into our bed in the middle of the night. Story 204. Our Labrador will carry one of her toys into bed with us. Sometimes it's her Lammy, sometimes her frog, and sometimes Mr. Octopus. Story 205. Yes, because it brings me comfort and makes me feel safe. Story 206. Yes, because I'm an adult and can do whatever the hell I like. Story 207. Absolutely. I have an emotional support silver fox named Sterling. She accompanies me almost everywhere, including bedtime. It is very comforting to have a friend with me. Story 208. No, I would prefer a pillow rather than stuffed animals in case I have nightmares. Story 209. I do because they bring me so much comfort and security, and it seems so sad to have a bare bed. Story 210. I have a snow leopard from Build-A-Bear. I'm a side sleeper who got tired of wearing a bra to bed, so it provides support and comfort. It holds many good memories. Story 211. I sleep with a Fredbear plush that I have had since elementary school. It has a lot of sentimental meaning because it was my first piece of Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise, a surprise gift from my dad, and he has been with me through a lot. I have taken him on every vacation, held him on nights before surgeries, and he was in my lap during an entire oral surgery. He is my comfort item and helps me feel better. Story 212. Mr. Bunny is always right there. I forgot him when I slept at my partner's house last night and had trouble sleeping. He keeps the weird dreams away. Story 213. My cat is not a cuddler and I am. When I am feeling very depressed or struggling, I grab one of my stuffed animals so I do not smother my cat. Story 214. I have a severely torn shoulder and have difficulty sleeping because of it. I use one of my children's stuffed animals to support my arm while I sleep. Story 215. I keep 2 stuffed animals on my bed and have since childhood. They are kind of big, but my grandmother made them by hand. They were my mother's when she was small. Story 216. I miss my stuffed animals, but there is barely room for me in bed with my partner and our real animals, so I cannot keep them. They were always comforting. I had a giant pink triceratops named Horatio that I cuddled every night. He helped support my joints, especially my shoulders, which hurt constantly these days. Story 217. Yes. My girlfriend sleeps with stuffed animals. Story 218. I am used to it. I have had a stuffed dog since I was 5 or 6 years old. It feels uncomfortable when it is not there, especially when I sleep on my stomach. Story 219. Yes, I take turns with a different one every night. Forget what anyone else thinks. Story 220. Not a stuffed animal. My cat died almost 2 years ago, and we had him wrapped in a towel as he passed. Ever since, we have kept that towel rolled up at the head of our bed where his favorite spot was. On particularly bad nights when I am feeling down, I cuddle it. I really miss him. Story 221. I am a 62-year-old male. Yes, it helps me sleep. It is a stuffed corgi body pillow that my son bought me last Christmas. Story 222. I sleep with my teddy bear because it is comforting and provides perfect support for my arm. I am a side sleeper. Story 223. Putting a stuffed animal between your knees if you sleep on your side greatly improves comfort and prevents your knees from bruising each other while you sleep. Story 224. Yes. A Little Miss Hug toy I bought secondhand about 10 years ago. Story 225. I have a 4-foot teddy bear that sits on my bed, and the rest of my stuffed animals have their own dedicated chair. My excuse is that I am holding onto them for my future children. Story 226. After seeing this question, I've learned that I sort of do. It's more like a body pillow. It's really comforting to hold something that resembles a body. It makes me feel wanted by this inanimate object. Story 227. I just bought this weighted dinosaur plush 3 days ago and was laughing my ass off. His name is Dewey. Story 228. No. We have an 18-pound orange cat who sleeps with us instead. Story 229. I've placed one teddy bear in a pillowcase and use it to support my limb while I sleep on my side. The other stuffed animals are on the couch. Story 230. Yes. I have a Build-A-Bear that I cuddle, and about 30 other plushies on my bed and on display. For me, it is all about comfort and stability. I could not have plushies when I was young, so now I buy them whenever I can. It makes me feel better. Knowing I have that one certainty keeps me calm at night. Story 231. It doesn't have to be a stuffed animal. I use pillows too. I was gifted squishy, soft sleeping Pokemon that are the perfect size to hug or put between my knees when I'm sleeping. They have a pleasant weight. I have sleeping Squirtle, Charmander, and Snorlax, and I'm always tempted to buy the others when I'm at Target. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.